You can get over your fear of rejection in fundraising. It's possible. It's not terribly hard, but it does require some experimenting on your part. And so, if this is something that you're afraid of, I want to ask somebody for money, but I'm scared that they'll say no. And most of the time, it's not just the no. I'm scared they'll say no and something else will happen. Like, oh, the relationship will be ruined. Or I'm scared I'll say no and I'll make them feel awkward. Or I'm scared that I'll say no and then I'll hurt our friendship in some way. Or I'll disrupt the nice balance we have going on. All this is coming from a fear mindset, which is counter to everything that we try to achieve as fundraisers. But there's easy ways of dealing with the fear of rejection. The most obvious and the most painful is to get rejected a lot. And there's many, many, many ways you can do that. Classically, it's things like telemarketing or door-to-door sales, where you just go do something where people will say no to you, and you do that as often as you can until you build up a foundation that's okay with rejection. I have a deep interest in the way Mormons do their missions for this reason, because it's an extraordinary amount of rejection, a less than 5% interest rate. And so you're getting rejected 95% of the things that you're doing for an entire year. The reason Mormons are deeply resilient people is because almost all of them have gone through this type of process. For me, it was making 300 political phone calls a day. It was selling cars. And now I've had the good fortune to become a really successful fundraiser, raising hundreds of millions of dollars, largely because I had the foundation of getting rejected so much. So that's my first thing, is look for low stakes ways to experience rejection. One of the best ways you can do that is to go into your local coffee shop and ask for a discount on the coffee. This is something that nobody does, and there's a good reason. It's because most of the time they say no. But if you think about it, it's not actually that hard to do. You can walk into a coffee shop and you can say, hey, can I have a discount on my coffee? And they'll usually look at you strange and they'll say, why? You can say, I'm a nice guy. That's all you need. And it feels weird, and it feels terrible, and it feels impolite, and it feels countercultural and not intuitive at all, and your brain will be in fight or flight, and the first time you do it, you might do it in a scared voice, but that's how fundraising is, and that's what it's like to ask for $1 million check or a $10 million check. And if you're not in a position where you can ask for a discount on a cup of coffee, I would challenge you to think that maybe you're not in the position where you can ask for a large gift right now. So try this. Go into your local coffee shop or whatever purveyor of fine goods you want to frequent and say to them, hey, may I have a discount on my goods and services? May I have a discount on my cup of coffee? Something else you can do if you're especially scared of rejection is to open your ask by saying, would you consider? Would you consider giving me a discount on my cup of coffee? Would you consider writing a check for $10 million? If the answer is no, then you can jump back and you can say, well, what would you consider? So there's a trampoline for you to recover if the answer is no. But don't worry about the would you consider right now. That's fine for later. For right now, just start by asking. Ask for something really low stakes where it's not going to impact your life, whether they say yes or whether they say no. Every once in a while, they say yes, and that's awesome. But if they say no, that's fine too. This is all about getting your reps in. If you were building muscle, they would call it time under tension. That's what we're doing here. Time under tension. Time under tension. Get rejected as many times as you possibly can. Good luck.